Hello guys, today we are going to deal with factorization. In our previous lesson we learned algebraic expression, and factorization is part of the algebraic expression. In factorization, when each of the terms of the expression is being divided through by a common factor, right, then we enclose the quotient in a bracket and the common factor too in a bracket, and by doing that we call it factorization. We factor something out. So example is the 12a plus b here. This can be factorized in this way. Common factor, a factor is the number that can divide through this 3 and the 12 without a remainder, right? So note that 3 can divide itself 1 and it can divide the 12 here by 4. That's why we have 3 then bracket 4a plus b. Note that 3 can never divide b and 3 can never divide a. That is why the a is still here and the b is also here, and the common factor here we know is 3, right? Now in so doing we can do it in 3 ways. We have 3 types of factorization. That is a common factor. The common factor is the example that we said here. What we have done is the method of common factor. Then we have a method of grouping. That's another method of grouping. In doing so, we grouped the like terms, then we factor out, right? Then we have quadratic of trinomials. The quadratic of trinomials, that is where we used a simple process, and in this video you are going to understand it very well. Let's quickly go to the common factor. It said a common factor, we look out for a common factor as the heading status. Common factor, like the example here, the common factor over here was what? 3. That is why we said we look for the common factor, then we divide through without remainder. So we divide through, then that is it. So from here, like the example stated here, we have 3ax plus 6ay. The common factor here is 3, right? So 3 will get into itself 1 and it will get to 6 2 times. Then we factor a is also here. It can get into itself 1 and a can get into a1. X and y, they are different. That's why we said 3a is out, then x is in, plus 2. These 2 will multiply this 3 will give us 6. Then the a will come, then the y, right? So this is also another example which shows the indices is being applied. We apply indices here. When x squared is dividing 3x, x power 3, we are going to get x. Then the operational sign. Then when x squared is dividing x squared, we are going to get 1. So the coefficient of this y is 1, right? That is it. So without table or calculator, evaluate this. 16.5 by 6.67 minus 4.67 times 16.5. Here we know the common factor here is 6. We have 16.5 here and 16.5 here. This 16.5 is multiplying this. This 16.5 is also multiplying this. So the common factor here we look out, that is 16.5, right? Then what left? The 6.67 is left here and the 4.672 is also left here. Then the operational sign still remain the same, minus, it doesn't changes. So here you can notice that when you subtract 4.67 from 6.67, you are going to get 2. Then 16.5 multiplied by 2, you are going to get our 33. Not only variables that we do factorization, we can do factorization in numerals only. Now let's quickly go to methods of grouping. Method of grouping here, the expression can only be solved by grouping the terms, that's the like terms that I said, or where the common terms are. So quickly let's move to examples, then we see how best we can do. So reading this can give you a simple definition that you can base on, and they are normally they come in 4 terms. Some can be more than 4. It can be 6, can be 5, can be any number, but they are usually 4 in number. So like example stated here, it said factorize x squared plus ax plus bx plus ab. You see here we have x here, x squared, we have x, we have x, we have a, we have b, we have b. So looking at this by the method of grouping, you just group this. In some ways it will be mixed, so you just have to look out for them, then you group them by yourself. So here you just group the first terms and the second terms. That's the grouping, right? Then you factorized x out from here. You are going to, it will left with x plus a, right? But always when you factorize one out, what will left in the first term will be left in the second term, right? That's what we call the factorizing. Yeah, factorize. Then here the coefficient of x plus a here is what? X. Then the operational sign is plus. Then the coefficient of x plus a in the next term is what? B. So we just group the coefficients, that's x plus b, multiplied by the quotient, that is x plus a. That's the term separation, right? So quickly, that's the first example. The second example, as you know, you do the same thing, going through the same process. I think you can solve it. A note: grouping. Note: in grouping, fish out the like terms. You just have to know the like terms. Let's quickly go to trinomials, the quadratic of trinomials. Then in trinomials, we are just is a term given to when the expression is with 3 terms, we call it trinomials. So we always compare it with ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are constant and not equal to 0. Always the constant are not equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, then it is not trinomial expression, right? So here you just find out the product of a and b. You see the a over here, when you multiply it by c, what you get, that's the first step. You multiply a by c, right? The figure here, you multiply it by the figure here. Then the next step, you find the common factor, the 2 common factors, that when you multiply, you are going to get the product of a and c, and when you add them, you are going to get b, the value of b here. That is the next step that you just look at. Then you replace the factors into a so that you can get 4 terms. Then you go by the method of grouping, right? So let's quickly look at this example. It said factorize completely. The first is x squared plus x minus 6, right? Which means here the coefficient here is 1. The coefficient here is also 1. Then the 6 is the constant that we know. And the question 2 is said 5x squared minus 13x minus 6. You see the a is 5, the b is 13, and the c is 6. So let's quickly look through the solutions. Then here is solution for question 1. It says the product of AC is equal to minus 6 times 1, which is equal to minus 6. Then the factors of minus 6, that will be 1, as here b is 1. The factors that will be 1 is minus 2 and 3. So you just need to substitute the minus 2 and 3 back into the equation in place of b. You just substitute them here. So that is what is being written here. Therefore, x squared plus 5x minus 6 becomes x squared plus 3x minus, remember, of minus 2. So minus 2x minus 6. Then you go by the method of grouping. You group the first, then the next terms, so that you can get two grouped terms. So here, after grouping, you go by factorization. You factor x out from here, and you are going to be left with x plus 3. When you factor negative 2 from here, when you factor 2 out from here, you are going to get x plus 3 as the same as this, so that you go by this way. This is factorized completely. Then the same method as the question 2, you do the same thing. You first find for the factors. When you multiply this and this, what you are going to get, 30. Then two factors that when you multiply you are going to get 30, but when you add you get minus 13. That is minus 15 and 2, right? That is being substituted over here. Then simply you go by the method of grouping. Then you factorize 1. You factorize 5x from here, you are going to get x minus 3. And you factorize 2 from here too, you are going to get x minus 3. Then the x minus 3 remain the same. Then 5x plus 2 comes out here. Guys, this is the end of today's lesson. When you want to get more videos, subscribe to Qwajo Chairman himself on YouTube, so that every single day when I drop a video you receive it. Goodbye, have a nice day, bye bye.